Hey there, Prepper Marine 81 here. I've got another initial impressions video for you today, and that is going to be on the Sig Sauer P250 that you see in front of you. This is the subcompact version. This one in particular is chambered in 9mm. It is also available in 40 Smith & Wesson and 45 ACP, just so you know. I'm going to throw out some specs real quick, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it so far. The trigger pull on these is going to range anywhere per SIG's website from 5.5 to 6.5 pounds. It is double action only. I will say, however, with this double action only, it is probably one of the smoothest double action triggers I have ever felt. Out of box, it's outstanding. It does feel on the lighter end of that 5.5 pounds. I don't think it really, at least the way it feels, doesn't feel like it's, you know, a 6.5 pound trigger. The capacity on these is excellent. The 9mm, even in this subcompact, is 12.1, or plus 1 rather. The 40 Smith & Wesson, you're looking at 10 plus 1, and 45 ACP is 6 plus 1. The sights, this one in particular has their contrast sights, which are basically just white sights, 3-dot. But they do also offer this in their Sig Light night sights from the factory. The finish on this, on the slide at least, because it does have a polymer frame, is their nitron coating, the same durable coating that they put on all the P229s and stuff like that. Retail price, you're looking at anywhere from probably $5 to $5.50, maybe a little bit higher than that, depending on where you're picking them up from what I've seen. All right, that's enough of the specs. Let's get into the weapon itself. The first thing I want to bring up, and is probably the most unique thing about the Sig Sauer P250 line, is how highly modular they are. If you're not familiar with this line, what I mean by that is on this weapon system, the internal firing mechanism is all one solid unit. And with this unit, it is the only thing that is serialized, so in a sense, that's the only part that, you know, you go in and you have to do the, you know, ATF background check and that kind of stuff for. But this trigger, this fire control group, you can literally pull it out, and I will show you later on in the video how to do that, how simple it is. You can pull this fire control unit out of the weapon and simply slap it into the compact size or full size in any caliber. You can change calibers, you can change, you know, frame size, everything. And these kits that they sell these in, that you would pull this fire control group out and slap it in another one, range anywhere from $300 to $350 roughly from what I've seen. So essentially you can have this weapon in a subcompact, you know, ideal carry size, take the fire control group out, say you're going to a range or something like that, put it in a full size, shoot it for the day, pull that fire control group out, put it back in your subcompact, and then put this back in your, you know, inside the waistband holster or wherever you like. This is very, very unique in the market. I think that Sig Sauer really hasn't done a real good job of marketing this because I was completely unaware of it up until probably about a month ago. And once I realized that, hey, you know, you can get this weapon, you only do one background check, you can purchase virtually any other weapon. Say this is chambered in 9mm, I want a full-size 45. Buy that kit for $300 to $350, you know, in under a minute. Take the fire control group out of that, put it in that weapon, and now all of a sudden you have a new gun. For that amount of money, that's pretty amazing. You know, especially for somebody who's on a budget. This sort of platform would work excellent for you. Now we're going to go ahead and get into a little bit of my thoughts on it, as far as, you know, just besides that whole modularity thing. The ergonomics on this weapon are excellent. It fits your hand well. I have a little bit on the larger size hands, so these subcompact guns, regardless of who makes them, a lot of times really just don't work for me because my hands are too big. Now you will notice that my pinky does kind of, you know, it's wandering off in no man's land here, but they do make extended base plates in magazines for these weapons that has a notch for your pinky. You know, similar to what the Glocks do and things like that. Other weapon manufacturers do the same thing, which I will purchase because that's going to just make it a little bit more comfortable for me in my hand. But I will say that their ergonomics are very good. The stippling that they use on these is a very good balance between it being textured enough to where you can get a good purchase on the weapon. If your hands were wet, it still would grip it well, but not being too abrasive. If you are using this inside the waistband, it's not tearing up your skin. The magazine release, good placement for it. It is raised enough to where you can actuate that quite well. Magazine is steel, just like most of the SIGs, or I should say all the SIGs. And you do have the witness holes on there from 5, 10, and 12 on this particular one. In case you're wondering, it's Hornady Critical Defense. Set that aside. The magazine release is raised enough to where you can actuate that quite easily. Other than that, it's standard, SIG looks, which in my opinion are very nice. You do still have that nice thick SIG frame, or slide I should say. Here's the sights, by the way. Just standard 3-dot. They are steel and they aren't ramped, which I like. So you can tell because they're 90'd off like that, you can still do a lot of one-hand manipulations with these fairly easy, which I'm glad that they did. There you can see is that it is a non-exposed hammer because it is double action only. This is kind of what I was talking about right there. This is a witness slot in the frame to where you can see the serial number because of that being the whole fire control group, the only serialized part. The controls on this can be completely ambied. The slide release lever is already ambied for you. They've manufactured it that way, but the mag release can be switched over. So if you are a lefty, this would be a good gun for you as well. Let's go ahead and show you. Breakdown is just like any other SIG, real easy. Lock the slide back, rotate that lever down, release the slide, bam. Internals, nothing too exciting there. It is not a captured recoil spring, so you do have the guide rod and spring assembly. Barrel lifts out, just like most modern polymer pistols. Reassembly, simple. Just put that in there. Let's set this aside for right now, and then I'll show you this modularity. This whole piece right here, this is the fire control group that pops out. And all you have to do, which I'm not going to do a full disassembly, but all you have to do is remove this takedown pin, and then this whole thing, you can see I'm not going to pull it all the way out, but this whole unit comes out of the firearm. And this is all you do is you take this unit and pop it back into whatever caliber or frame size that you'd like. Very easy to do, very inexpensive, and it gives somebody the ability to change calibers and frame sizes, like I said, extremely easily, and for not a whole lot of money, honestly. Reassembly, very easy. Pop that back in, put the slide back on, walk it to the rear, flip that. That's it. That's all you gotta do. So there you have it. There's that. That's how you do it. Get you in frame there. But overall, I like the weapon. The trigger is amazing on it. I'm not a real big fan of double action, but this one in particular is very smooth. You can tell right before it breaks. It's very predictable. It doesn't take you very long at all to get used to that. I had no problem connecting with my target, round placement, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm impressed with the firearm. I do want to get something that's a little bit larger and at least get that little base plate for me. But my initial impressions are it shoots well, 100% reliable. You're buying a SIG product. I wouldn't expect anything less than that. The price point on these is a little bit less than some of their other lines because of the polymer frame. It's not that the quality is any less or anything like that. It's just a simple fact that you have a polymer frame as opposed to steel, so it's cheaper for them to make. So they pass that savings on to you instead of just keeping it the same price as the rest of their line, which is nice. I would recommend it. If you don't mind double action triggers, and as I said, it's a good trigger. Once you get used to it, which doesn't take any time at all, it's an excellent shooter for the price. And that modular design is, I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of it. I think that's a really good idea. But if you have any kind of questions, something I didn't really hit on, feel free to leave it. And as always, thanks for watching. Prep Marine 81 out.